What's going on, guys? Welcome back to review and discussion for UnOrdinary episode 267. Now, this episode is pretty good. It's pretty good, actually. It does a lot of things right. It's good payoff. Once again, it's good payoff to episode 266, which had been set up previously left off on the big cliffhanger that Doc was making an appearance in the story again, which, I honestly wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting until I saw that Layla was talking to someone in her lab at the next gen facility, wherever that is. But yeah, no, it was really interesting. It was a really good chapter. And overall, yeah, I do like it. It ends on a pretty unfortunate cliffhanger, which I'm going to be honest, I'm not excited to see what happens in episode 268. But we'll get to that in a bit. This video is also probably not going to be edited at all. Even though I do want to edit it. Yeah, it's going to take a while, and I don't have time for that right now. Sorry. But anyway, regardless, let's go ahead and jump right into this episode. So once again, as per the usual, immediately starts off with where 266 ends, and it's Doc asking Sarah why she's here, and she basically says the same thing to him, like, "Oh, like, I could be asking you the same thing." Now, Caden asks to himself how they know each other. He likes, you two know each other. This most likely means that he hasn't spent much time with Doc. Not knowing that he came from Wellston Academy, it's also probably hinting, it's possibly an early hint in the episode that to show that Doc is not a part of Spectre. Spoiler alert for that, we do get confirmation in this chapter that Doc is not a part of Spectre. Therefore, Zetasci. Zetasci is the name of their company. So Doc is an employee of Zetasci, and therefore Zetasci is not exclusively a branch of Spectre, but we'll get to that more in a second. So Layla tells Doc that Sarah is her sister, which is funny to see like his reaction and everything, but I feel like at this point Doc should have known that, because he should know both Sarah and Layla's last names. Now, maybe it's possible that Layla has changed her last name. I mean, she is basically kind of like, yo, fuck my parents, and her parents are basically like, yo, fuck our oldest daughter. But, whatever. She probably is going by a different last name. I mean, I guess. Anyway, that's not important stuff. So, Sarah then tells Layla that she wants to talk about what happened in Rowden, and Layla asks Doc and Caden to both leave the room. Side note, this was brought up to me by a friend of mine. Shout out to Steph. Doc is clean shaven now. I did not notice that whatsoever in the reaction at all. That never crossed my mind once. I didn't even realize. I thought something looked different about Doc, but I just noticed that he looked less tired than how he was at Wellston and everything. But Steph pointed out, yo, Doc is clean shaven now. My man looking good. And when he said that, I was like, oh my God, you're completely right. Doc is clean shaven now. So that's cool to see. Now we get a brief moment with Doc and Caden outside of the room. They briefly introduce each other. Caden's just like, hey, I'm Layla's assistant, so we know their relation. I don't think that was really confirmed before. And then Doc just says, hey, like, I just started as a chemist here. And, Caden, he's like, oh, you're a chemist. Hey, cool, I need some help. Do you mind helping me, like, study for my exam? So really nice little, character moment right there. Now, Layla tells Sarah that it's dangerous for her to be there at the lab, and Sarah retorts that she won't follow the rules if she's going to get punished either way. Now, honestly, kudos to Sarah for taking charge. Sarah is making her own moves now. Now, these moves could possibly have disastrous consequences, but, she's doing stuff. She's making a change for what she believes in, and I love that about Sarah. I do love the new Sarah that we're seeing for once. So Layla then apologizes to Sarah for what happened in Rowden, the incident there, and Sarah says that it's not enough. stating that she made a deal with Layla that she would help with Spectre's research, but Layla had to ensure that everyone was safe, especially John. It was always important to Sarah that everyone stayed out, especially after the warning that Layla gave her. People who know about Spectre end up dead. So, Sarah wanted to avoid that for everyone. It's the reason why she refused to tell John for so long about everything that happened and that was going on. So, clearly Sarah was very angry about this. Now, Layla then informs Sarah that Orin, potential name drop for the guy who wanted Sarah from the start to get all of Spectre's targets. Who wanted Sarah from the beginning to get all of Spectre's targets, which they say included John, Arlo, Remy, Blake, and Ison. And to that, I once again say Arlo and John were not targets. They weren't. They weren't targets of Spectre. So that kind of bit of information does bother me because, it just feels, I feel like Uru, is kind of backpedaling a little bit. That's what it feels like to me. But yeah, you guys know how I feel about that. So, but then Layla also says that she was blindsided again and that they used her team's research without her authorization of it. And then Sarah mentions that she's not sure if Layla is being genuine and sincere or if she's in on everything with all the people of Spectre. She says, Layla, you get blindsided a lot. And she asks, and then Layla says that she's obviously on Sarah's side and that she would do anything for Sarah. And Sarah asks a very big question. And that question exactly being, would you work behind Spectre's back? And as soon as she said that, I already knew what Sarah's plan is. But as soon as Sarah asked that, you know where the conversation's going. And Layla then asks her not to make her choose. But Sarah questions Layla about that. She says, choose? Are you kidding me? And she points out that Spectre has been making decisions for Layla, pointing out that Orin has been allowed to break the rules and do whatever he wants, put the public in danger, public ambushes and everything. Basically just, doing stuff that's stupid. But he's been allowed to do that and still be okay. But Layla doesn't have, and she also states that Layla doesn't have any of the influence that she thinks she has, and to stop letting them step all over her. And Layla then retorts with, she has tried, but she's had no success. She feels crushed, trapped, and she doesn't know what to do anymore. Now, this scene I actually really liked. I actually really liked this moment for Layla because it's very reminiscent of the story arc that Sarah had in the early part of the series. The feeling of being crushed, everyone making decisions for her or expecting everything of her. The whole point of Sarah's storyline when John was figuring out stuff with Arlo, Sarah's whole thing was figuring out how to break free from the shackles that her parents put on her. And the major story arc that John had with her at the beginning of their friendship was like making Sarah realize that, hey, reputation isn't everything. You can't just let people control you. You should do what you want. You should do what makes you happy. Don't let other people control you. So it's cool to see that, this is something that Layla, even after leaving her parents, even after leaving the grips and the clutches of her parents, it's still something that she's gotten herself into. She's not free anymore. Like Remy, Blake, and Ison brought up back at the mall, Corovo Mall incident. High tiers, god tiers especially, are shackled. They're crippled in this society. It's pretty interesting to see this also affect Sarah's sister after so long. And honestly, if that was an intentional callback, Uru, I really like that actually. That was a really good storytelling device you used there. So, that was good. Sarah then tells her that she's not ready to give up and that Layla brought her on board because she needed Sarah's help. But Layla needs to work with Sarah too. And I like it. Once again, it's Sarah doing things. It's Sarah taking charge. It's Sarah essentially, hopefully, in a way, becoming like John is. figuring out a way to liberate others and make them happy and do the right thing. Layla then relents, and she asks Sarah what the plan is, and Sarah tells her that she wants an audience with the executives, and she wants access to the ability recovery device one last time. Now, as for the meeting with the executives, I wonder if it is going to be an in-person thing. I think that would be more effective. And she's going to try and ambush the executives with this audience. She's going to maybe try and get everyone together and just, like, go hand, throw hams. Go hand, throw hams. Yep. But there is one thing that I do have an issue with, and it is the fact that Uru has confirmed that Sarah has been getting multiple treatments, not singular, treatments, and they even said that they can't restore it's been confirmed that the device does not restore abilities permanently. She wants access to the ability recovery device one more time, assumably for John, and again. Like I said before, that's cool. I'm glad John is going to get his ability back. Most likely, maybe. We might drag that out more too, but that's not a good solution because Sarah shouldn't have her ability for much longer. She shouldn't. She should be cut off soon. As far as we know, she didn't even pass out during the Rowden Hill incident, and she was clearly exhausted and worn off from before. We didn't see that, though. We just saw, the last time we saw her, she was sleeping next to John, probably because she spent the night there and was just waiting for him. It wasn't a big deal for her. So, there's that. But yeah, Layla says that won't be easy, but she doesn't flat out ignore it or deny it. We then cut back to Caden and Doc is really helping out. It's another small character moment. Doc is really helping out Caden with his studies, and Caden even suggests that, teaching, like, hey, like, have you ever considered teaching? Which Doc immediately just shuts down with, like, no, absolutely not. So, Layla then asks Caden, she steps out and asks Caden to take Sarah home. She asks Doc to come in. We cut ahead of the day, and Doc is heading home from the evening, and I believe he grabs a beer or something. He grabs pale ale, I think is what it was called. It's not important at all, so I don't know why I care that much. But I have to know. I've got to know what you were drinking, Doc. Pale ale, yep. So, and then we get a flashback to his conversation with Layla after Sarah had left. And assumably, she brings him up to speed on everything, basically. She tells him, like, hey, so yes, like, I got you this job at the company, but I didn't tell you everything. Our main customer is an organization called Spectre. And Doc, when she says that, it's basically like, cool, don't know what that means, Layla. Like, what's going on? And then she tells him everything. Like, we're a group. We're trying to make the world a better place. Lately, it's becoming a bit more radicalized, and, you've seen one of our most recent developments, the ability disabler. And she tells him, like, you've seen its effect on Sarah. It's now affected your student, John. Now, it's when she says John, it's when Layla says that it's now been used on John, that John got disabled, that Doc reacts. He has a sudden moment of, what? You did that? And I think in Doc's fairness, he does ask Layla if he meant anything to her or if he was just a part of her recruitment plan. He even states that he put his job on the line. Well, I'll cover that in a moment. Now, both Doc and Sarah have brought up the inability to trust Layla at this current moment in time. And honestly, I do see where the both of them are coming from. I do see that. However, that being said, Layla, I think that Layla is genuine in all of this. We saw her reaction when Doc brought up that Sarah had got disabled. We saw her point of view of the events of when she was confronting everyone at Spectre. So I think Layla is being very fair and genuine. I think it's clear that Layla does care about Serafina. And now I do understand, like I said, I understand Serafina and Doc's hesitancy with Layla at this moment in time. But another thing to mention on Doc's side is that Layla didn't really try to recruit Doc. Doc asked if they had any room for someone of his skill set on his own. And she said, you're more than qualified. But Layla, from what we saw, never really tried to, goat Doc into, applying for a position at Zetaside. Doc asked that himself. So I think it's kind of a dick move for, Doc to ask if he was part of her recruitment plan when he was the one who brought up wanting to work for the company to begin with. And another thing to bring this up is that he states that he put his job on the line for her and thinks that everything she told him was a lie and thinks that she's lied to him about everything. Now, two things about this. One, once again, Doc, you hated your job. Again, you asked her if they had positions. You asked her for a job. So, not sure what's going on there, Uru. But one thing that I do like about Doc's reaction a lot is something I've been saying for the longest time. Both his reaction to learning that John has been disabled and also the line that he put his job on the line, I think it does show that Doc actually did care about the kids. Now, like I said, before when the season came back, I did think wow, I'm actually kind of disappointed in Doc. I thought he did just leave. But this is something that, this reaction I think does show no, Doc cared a lot about his job. He cared a lot about his students. He never wanted to leave them behind. He clearly made a connection with John, like I said. So I think, it was interesting to see these reactions from John these reactions from Doc, because I think it confirms a lot of what myself and a lot of other fans have speculated about him for so long. And honestly, if John's uncle doesn't become headmaster of Wellston, what if Doc becomes headmaster? What if at the end of the series, Doc is the headmaster of Wellston and he hates his job, but the last shot of him in the series is just him looking at a picture of him with John, and that's my student right there, or whatever. That'd be nice, that'd be cool. That'd be a cool thing. But I think this does also kind of leave credence to the fact Doc is also assumably the person behind the dampener negator. So because it was mentioned the new chemist had worked on it. So I think this does also lead credence to Doc wanting to help Layla out. Not maybe he won't want to because for her sake. He wants to do it because of Sarah and John especially. So I definitely think this was also Uru's way of showing Doc's not out of the story yet. We are going to see him again very soon. Doc's being brought in as well. So the chapter ends a little disappointingly. So chapter ends at Lovin Prison. Now, for those of you who do not know, Lovin is where Ray's body was found and assumably where he operated as ecstatic. And it's also where Layla met Sarah and Arlo at the cafe before they were ambushed by Spectre. So we've been to Lovin before and we've heard about Lovin before. A lot of things happen in Lovin, but this is a prison in Lovin. And it ends with with Terrence being brought in cuffs still, despite being disabled, in cuffs, being led to an interrogation room, assumably, and Keon there saying, all right, let's continue where we left off, shall we? So it seems like the next episode is going to be Keon interrogating or using memory recall to try and get more information from Terrence. And like I said in the reaction, Uru, if you're going to try and make fucking sad backstory for Terrence, It's not going to work on me. Not going to fly. If you just want to use it to show Keon getting some information, putting some pieces together, and then being like, I need to check up on John again. He's kind of suspicious. Or I need to check up on Serafina again. She's kind of suspicious. Also because, now that I think about it, Keon thought that Sarah may have been at risk of becoming a superhero. And if he sees her with her ability, which he still doesn't know has been regained, the authorities still shouldn't know that, and he'll see her in this outfit, he may think that she has become a superhero. Okay, hold up. We might be onto something then, guys. But that's where the episode ends. And honestly, if that happens, that'd be really interesting because they also still need a reason to they need a full-on solid reason to get Vaughn out of the headmaster's seat. So Keon has that information. He knows that Sarah's up to something. Okay. The pieces might actually fall together. Okay. Uru, don't fucking waste time with sad Terrence backstory. It's not going to get any sympathy for him. Again, I don't care if dear old mommy and daddy were killed. I don't care, you know, he was bullied a lot as a kid. John was bullied too, and he's coming around. Terrence is an adult. Terrence is assumably an adult who threatened the lives of children. No sympathy whatsoever. John gets sympathy because you showed us why he deserves it and also why he didn't. You showed us both sides of the right and wrong for John. Terrence, no. Fuck that guy. Don't waste time with that. Focus solely on the information that Keon's getting and showing how that's going to affect what's still to come. So, with all that being said, and with the revelations that I had literally less than a minute ago about the events of this chapter and what else they could mean, honestly, I will give this episode a level 8.5. Yeah. This is actually a good episode. And a lot of things are happening that I didn't even consider. That probably won't happen, honestly, but it's cool to think about. And, I do hope that they happen, honestly, because that just proves that I got the Byaku Sharingan. Y'all can't see what I see. I see through this shit, bro. Anyway, that's all for now, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, everyone, see you, Space Cowboy.